Tonight on CTV, the Women's March has come to Fort Collins and the annual Tour de Corgi is back.
And stick around for sports for analysis on the MLB wildcard and see what events are coming up for the fall season.
All that and more on CTV starting now. Good evening, Rams. I'm Robbie Patla.
And I'm Natalie Deveraux. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Sadly, we have some unfortunate news to start off with tonight, Rams. Lanes heading south of Interstate 25 finally reopened after a deadly car crash occurred on Friday evening, killing 2 people, including a child. The crash happened at Buckeye Road, north of Wellington and 10 miles south of the Wyoming border. 5 residents were in the car at the time, including 3 children. A 21-year-old woman and a 4-year-old boy were both ejected from the car on impact and died at the scene, while a 22-year-old man, another 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old all sustained serious injuries. Colorado State Patrol took around 4 hours to clear the road.
The Fort Collins Rescue Mission is a Denver-based organization that provides shelter to men in the community experiencing homelessness. But after having 21 residents test positive for COVID-19, the mission itself needs aid. As fall comes and temperatures begin to drop, the number of people seeking cover at the mission skyrockets. For many men, this is the only option they have to eat a meal and get out of the cold. But with the recent influx of COVID cases, the mission had to turn patrons away, as its dorms were used to isolate the positive cases. The situation became so dire, the Larimer County Department of Health and Environment stepped in. They joined forces with the CDC to fund hotel rooms to quarantine those with the virus. With this extra help, the rescue mission can now continue to focus on its main goal, offering a safe and warm place to those in the community that need support.
There are many beautiful sights to see on the CSU campus. However, some recent inappropriate behavior in the academic buildings and residence halls has threatened this reputation. The TikTok trend known as Devious Licks reached the CSU campus. Over the last few weeks, vandalism and misuse of university property has occurred. Whether it's small works of graffiti or tearing up residence hall lobbies, students are forced to witness the aftermath of these misconducts.
I've seen a little bit in my residence hall. I've heard about people stealing like the hand sanitizing dispensers. Outside at the bike racks, I see it a lot. People just like missing tires, or just the tire is the only thing that's left.
For RAs of these halls, reporting these issues is a long process, even for smaller incidents of vandalism such as Title IX issues, which deal with sexually explicit drawings or curse words on the walls.
Like if it's Title IX, like, genitalia, like curse words, stuff like that, then we do a Title IX report, and then we also have to fill out an incident report as to what happened, just so like our leadership knows and like student case management knows. After it gets reported, environmental staff is the one to clean it up, unfortunately.
As fall term reaches its halfway mark, RAs urge students to take better care of their environments.
It's like a lot of work, a lot of unnecessary work, just for like a really terrible joke, honestly. ES staff, like, they already do so much for us, and then you have, like, on top of that, you make them like clean up explicit drawings or like really dumb drawings. And then, yeah, just behave. That's all I have to say. Just act like an adult. So.
Yesterday, Housing and Dining Services sent an email out to all students regarding another use of troubling behavior in the residence halls in the form of interpersonal conflicts. The university wants to remind all students that taking care of the community, whether it's the living spaces or each other, is a responsibility to abide by, especially as we settle more into the year.
17% of CSU students report using a bike as their main form of transportation to and from campus, meaning there are nearly 500 bikes on campus daily. Unfortunately, this also means CSU is the perfect place to steal a bike from. Bike theft is the most common crimes committed here, with 16 bikes stolen the first week of classes and an average of 190 stolen annually. The biggest reason for these crimes is students not locking their bikes properly or leaving them overnight. CSU PD recommends using a U-lock to secure bikes to one of the 18,000 bike rack spaces available. A U-lock is extremely difficult to cut through and often deters criminals. To help further prevent thefts, you can register your bike with CSU PD at police.colostate.edu/register your bike.
Thad Paul and Catherine Weaver of the Larimer County Children, Youth, and Family Services Division have made headlines recently for an article they wrote in the Child Welfare League of America's Journal of Policy, Practice, and Programs. Their article talked about their work in Colorado using a trauma-informed practice. This places an emphasis on reducing the use of out-of-home placement programs and focusing on what can be done in homes. It is unclear what comes next for trauma-informed practice, but Larimer County community partners will be doing their best to lead the charge.
There's no denying the last school year was a rocky one for many students, and CSU saw a decline in enrollment. However, things appear to be moving in the right direction, upwards. First-year enrollment on campus has climbed back to nearly pre-pandemic levels, with over 5,000 students registered. We have the increase of out-of-state students to thank for that, with them making up 40% of the first-year class. And although I may not be a freshman, I am from out-of-state, so you're welcome.
What state are you from?
I'm from California.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to warn you about winter coming.
Well,
It might be a doozy.
Although I've been here for a few years, I have to admit, I still don't know how to drive in the snow, nor do I own a snow scraper.
Oh, well, best of luck to you. I'm from Colorado, and I still can't drive in the snow.
So wish us both luck.
That works. Don't go anywhere, Rams.
Because Michelle Ellis is up next for your weekly weather report.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
In the wake of the Texas abortion law, hundreds of thousands gathered nationwide in the Women's March to speak out against what is regarded as the strictest abortion ban in the United States.
Chants such as these echoed around the nation in response to the law which was signed into action this September. It prohibits abortions after 6 weeks, and those who aid in one can have a lawsuit filed against them by any private citizen.
As someone from Texas, that is literally horrifying that is becoming a law.
The Women's March organized rallies in over 600 locations. They urged everyone to use their voice and to peacefully take to the streets.
If we don't march and speak we give up.
The Fort Collins March took place at 11 in the morning at Library Park. The event drew in an assortment of people, but there was an obvious gratitude towards the young woman in attendance.
This is your future. This is the life you're going to have to live with for the next 50 years.
The rally hosted speakers who covered everything from encouraging people to vote, personal stories, and trying to end the stigma around abortion.
We need to release the shame that's associated with abortions. We need to understand that it is healthcare.
However, not everyone is open to this viewpoint. 40 Days for Life is a religious organization that is committed to ending abortions and prays outside clinics.
We're not here to condemn anybody. We're not here to make anybody free. It's just the opposite. We just want to give them other options.
Both groups state they want to remove shame around the topic, but still fall on opposing sides.
The Women's March is determined to continue the rally for abortion justice and has planned a mass call on October 12th to strategize their next steps in the movement. Perhaps we'll continue seeing signs of this across Fort Collins.
Colorado State University Board of Governors met with an expert on student loan debt to discuss the debt crisis and possible solutions. Urban Institute's principal researcher Sandy Baum, who also works as the college affordability and economics professor at Skidmore College, pitched her solutions to these challenges. Those solutions are increasing college affordability and access to loans. According to the Coloradoan, to her, affordability is not only about the price of higher education, but also the value. Loans provided to undergraduate students are significantly lower compared to graduate students. Based on data from the College Board, funds covered through loans was at 65% for graduate students in 2020, compared to undergraduate students sitting just above 30%.
This next story is certainly cause for celebration, maybe by throwing on some boots, a cowboy hat, and heading out to dance. 14 venues in Fort Collins received over $7 million in grant funds to help them stay open amid the pandemic, including the ever-popular Sundance Steakhouse and Saloon. The money came from the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program. Businesses who received the first round of grants this summer can now apply for additional funds, up to 50% of their initial grant.
The countywide staff shortages, has unfortunately reached CSU's own veterinary teaching hospital. This world-renowned animal facility is temporarily decreasing its hours and closing overnight. Assistant Professor of Urgent Care Amanda Kavana says part of the issue is the massive increase in pet adoptions in the community during the pandemic. Since residents were working from home, getting a pet was a popular trend. This event eventually led to an overabundance of new patients at the hospital. The increase in new patients did not correlate with the amount of current staff, which is what led to them making this decision. Kavana said in an interview with CBS Denver that this outcome was ultimately the best decision, so that the vets could still take in new patients but also work on educating aspiring medical students. The hospital will still tend to animals in emergencies, but also asked outside vets to take more patients until they can hire more staff.
Well, Rams, that's all the news we have for you tonight.
But don't go anywhere because Brandon Cruz is up next with an analysis over the MLB wild card.